right, everyone, welcome to the show, Tennessee Wildcast, the weekly show podcast of the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency. I'm Doug Markham. Jason Harmon's here. We'll introduce our guest in a minute. You waterfowlers are going to love it. We're going to cover a lot of waterfowl today as the season gets ready to roll. We got a lot of other stuff to talk about, too. And as always, even if you're not into waterfowling, I think you'll always like what you hear on here, learning from the biologists and the officers and many other folks we talk to, because it's just so interesting about what goes on across our state with wildlife. And we'll be discussing that today. But first, Jason, before we get there, you got some information that Lynn Barrett gave you. If you haven't seen the show that we did with Lynn Barrett out of our Geographic Information System, you really ought to watch it. If you go to any of our WMAs, it will teach you a lot about how to get on there and find where you're going and where you've been and get back to where you did well. So she just did a terrific job with it.
Yes, she was on here a couple of weeks ago, and we hit maps heavy, and it's still out there to watch. But she brought me a new feature yesterday. Said the hunters are going to love it.
Okay, well, show it to us.
Let me switch to the screen. Y'all watching at home can see this. If you scroll up and click the same place where she said to go check out our maps, right there under maps, wildlife management areas, you click that.
And that map, that stays out there all the time. Yeah. It's too important.
Mm-hmm. That's going to bring up our map. And if you'll watch as it loads here, you're going to see these little arrows pop up. And it may take a minute here, but I'll zoom in. We're in the Nashville area today. And see all those arrows popping up there. You've got one right next to Nashville, says 13 there, and you got one over here. Where'd the other one go to? Up there.
I see one that says 15,
yeah,
South
17,
Nashville.
15. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's click the one up here. It says 15. They're going to move around on me. Up here north of Gallatin, let's click that arrow. And what that's going to tell you is the temperature, the wind speed, all kinds of good details that's happening in that area. So look, you got temperatures 42 degrees right now in Nashville, or north of Nashville area. The humidity, the wind chill, and the miles, not the miles per hour, but the kilometers per hour of the wind speeds. And y'all do the math, it's going to be a little bit slower than that in miles per hour. But all that great information is now on our maps.
Yeah, along with so many more things that tell you how to get there and give you your coordinates, your GPS coordinates. It's just a terrific interactive map that's getting better all along, thanks to folks like Lynn and Tracy Porter and others down in our GIS folks. They do a lot of hard work to try to keep this up.
You see, you got a lot of choices across through there, different arrows you can click, so you can kind of check the wind speeds and temperatures in different areas of the state. Okay,
and just keep watching that map. It'll get better and better. And all our maps are out there. You can print them. If you didn't see Lynn's show, one thing she told you is it's easy to print them out at home. Mm-hmm. A lot of folks want to know why we don't have the maps anymore. And we still got some old line-drawn black and white maps, but they aren't worth anything compared to what you can do here and run off right there at your house. What else something else we wanted to show them, I thought.
Oh, yeah, we're going to show TWRA TV. I don't know if y'all have been watching the show there or not, but TWRA TV is a new platform we have out there, and I'll get to the right thing so y'all can see it. Platform kind of like YouTube, kind of like Netflix. It's kind of a mix, but you can watch for free, or you can become a member and get some other features and get some other benefits from doing that.
Yeah, they have something called a Pro Shop. But if you want to go in and just watch these shows or other shows that they're picking up all the time, Tennessee Uncharted, they're out there. The show you can see that we did a few weeks ago on the Tennessee Tucker Buck. And, of course, we did one the other day again with Dale, a second show with Dale Grandstaff that's out there this week. Dale's fun to talk to, and he discussed the shed hunting this time of year, or it's about to start, and how he likes to do that in addition to hunting.
Right.
And it's a lot of fun to listen to him talk about it. But the Tennessee Tucker Buck's out there, and look at all the stuff that they've picked up now.
Yeah, a lot of stuff. And on our page, you can watch all our videos out there, all our wildcasts, and any other videos. Barry Cross has been producing a lot of stuff out of Region 2.
Barry puts it out there, doesn't he?
And he started putting his stuff in our Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency playlist on TWRA TV.
If you want to know what's going on with your fish and wildlife across the state, you can learn a lot by going out here. And our Facebook, too. We put a lot out on our Facebook. All right. Let's get to our guest, unless you got something else.
No.
Did you have a good Thanksgiving?
I did.
Good.
I'm full of turkey.
Full of turkey. All right. Well, I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving as we get ready for Christmas. And I hope a lot of you had a good first weekend of the opening of the waterfowl season in what we call the remainder of the state. Our guest is Jamie Feddersen today. And Jamie is
See what you did there, Doug.
There you go. Jamie is he is the program leader for our waterfowl program across Tennessee.
Yeah, that's right.
And Jamie, welcome to Tennessee, by the way.
Hey, thank you.
Where'd
Thanks,
you come
guys.
from?
I came to Tennessee from Florida. I had spent about 15 years in Florida as a waterfowl biologist. The last couple of years there, I was their statewide waterfowl coordinator. I was in charge of waterfowl, small game, and fur bearers for the entire state. But yeah, the previous 13 years prior to that, I was like straight waterfowl biologist, out banding ducks and working with landowners on how to enhance wetlands on their property for waterfowl, stuff like that. And it was fun. It was good. I enjoyed my time in Florida, but boy, I'm really excited about being in Tennessee and looking forward to diving in and learning all about Tennessee and moving us forward in the right direction.
When did you start for us?
Right at the end of June this past year.
So this is your first waterfowl season for us.
Yeah,
obviously.
It is. Yeah. But I'm not too far. I'm not too far off of knowing what's going on in Tennessee. I spent about 3 years in Southern Illinois, where I went to grad school at Southern Illinois University. So I am familiar with timing of migration and the types of birds that we get here and all that stuff.
Okay.
So I do have a little bit of experience in the Midwest.
No doubt. But just out of curiosity, what are common ducks down in Florida?
Yeah. It's a lot different than what we get here. Certainly around in Tennessee, the greenhead mallard is the big duck that everybody likes, and we just didn't get them down there. They just did not migrate down that far. Yeah, the big ducks down there. Well, when I say big, it's relative. Our number one and number two in the bag was always ringneck duck and blue-winged teal. So while hunting was very, very good down there, we'd get a lot of different species. We just wouldn't get a lot of big ducks, and just a very different bag than what you would get in Tennessee.
What flyway were you being considered? Which one?
Florida's in the Atlantic flyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So now you're in the Mississippi flyway.
Correct.
But even in the Atlantic flyway, you were meeting with people from up north. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Where the ducks come down.
Yeah. The process is all the same. Each flyway it runs states north to south, and for those who aren't familiar with the flyway system, that's a collective of waterfowl biologists and administrators up and down these administrative flyways, which really follow sort of the course of the natural migration flyways for these ducks. So Mississippi flyway is going to include states from the northern Midwest like Michigan, Minnesota, you come down Ohio, Illinois, all those states that are sort of along the Mississippi River. All of the state biologists get together a couple times a year, and we talk about waterfowl management issues, population issues, habitat stuff. We put together recommendations based on information that we get from, say, the federal government and other states. They collect population data. They do surveys up in northern Canada, counting the number of ducks and things like that. And so we take that information and harvest information, and it's really the states that sort of get together and say, well, this is what we think should happen with the duck seasons. There's enough ducks. We should have a 60-day season. We should have 6 birds in the bag. And the states put this recommendation to the Fish and Wildlife Service, and then they take that recommendation into account, talk about it, then they say, okay, states, you have asked for this, we agree with you. This is what you should be, having with your duck season. So it's really a neat, a neat process where the states really do get to say what happens or what they want with this resource. Ducks are an international resource. Most of them are hatched and raised in Canada. So this flyway process that I was explaining involves representatives from the Canadian provinces, and so it really is this awesome collective of different folks that get together who all share this resource collectively and making decisions together about what we should do with it and making sure that we're doing the right stuff for the resource.
It seems like for a long time now we've had what we call a liberal season, and I can remember the days in Tennessee where the duck hunters had 30 days or maybe 45 days, or they they could only bag 2 or 3 ducks.
Right.
Now we're at this 6 duck, 60 day, and it's been that way for a while. What does that tell us, Jamie?
Well, it tells us that we're doing a good job managing ducks. As far as those years with low, very restrictive seasons and low bag limits, we were able to, and habitat conditions approved on the breeding grounds, so we were able to grow more ducks. And because we've been in this liberal process for a while, it's because we've been able to do things that grow duck populations. And so as long as duck populations are high and continue to grow, which they have been, I mean, we're at historic levels. If you hear people talking about the good old days, everybody says, oh, back, the good old days, we had ducks and everything everywhere. Well, folks, we are in the good old days right now. So we're going to be able to look back and tell our kids and grandkids, oh man, remember back in the 2000s and the 20 teens, man, those were the good old days, because they are right now.
Okay.
We are at historic high levels of birds.
So
Awesome.
so we have Tennessee hunting, and we'll have days in Tennessee that are just blistering hot, and then I'm talking about shooting hot. They'll have a great day, and then we might go weeks without any good hunting, and you'll hear hunters out on one of the WMAs talk about that it's slow right now. Most of them are just eating breakfast and all that. What happens during those times, Jamie? Where do those ducks go? And sometimes it leads people to think we don't have many ducks, but that's not the case, right?
Right, that's not the case, and it's certainly a lot of it depends on the weather. Some of it depends on daylight and things. We have species that migrate based solely on the amount of daylight length. So teal are an obvious one. They aren't affected a whole lot. They don't move because it's cold. They move because the days are getting shorter. And so teal are one of those species that you literally could have, thousands of them on your area one day, and then the next day they're just gone, just because they are continuing to migrate south. That's a lot of what happens with a lot of other species. Say mallards, you might have a bunch around one day. They might move just simply because maybe all the food was eaten out at that pond, or maybe it got a little bit too cold and they decided to go a bit further south, or it got a little bit warm so they wanted to move a little bit further north. Mallards are notorious for that. They're definitely moving with the ice lines. As it gets cold, they're going to come further south. As it warms up, they're going to move more north.
Well, is it uncommon? Will a duck sometimes move south, move north, and move south again?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
Wherever they got to go, and they can go quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So we had opening day here in Tennessee. It was just 2 days in what we call the remainder of the state. Reelfoot, a small zone in the northwest part of the state, had one a few weeks ago.
Right.
Then we had the remainder of the state, which is everywhere but there, this past weekend. Overall, how did these 2 hunts go early?
Yeah, I didn't hear much about what happened with the Reelfoot opener, but that's a lot of tradition and things going on there. So I think they're just happy to get out and shoot if they can. I would imagine that it was probably okay, because Reelfoot's always holding water, and that's certainly at this point in the game is going to be really important. But from what I've heard over this past weekend, those areas that had water probably they did really well.
What do you mean in this case by had water?
Well, because we've been so dry for so long. We're under this really big drought that we've been in for a while.
Right.
Haven't gotten a lot of rain since early August, and so we have a lot of areas that might normally be holding water because of rainfall. They're just dry, and they just don't have any water. And so, of course, if you don't have any water, you don't have ducks, because we all know ducks like water.
Right.
But so those areas that are holding a little bit of water, there's probably your deeper reservoirs, or just some areas that have the ability to pump some water in from somewhere else. Like I know our Bogota WMA, they have the ability to pump water in it. So, and they have been. So I think they did pretty well this weekend. But we've got some other areas that we just don't have the ability to do that on our WMAs. And so they just didn't have any successful hunts because there's no birds there.
Okay. Hopefully rain will get all that, get us everything back in order. Yeah. The season restarts again on December the 3rd, and it goes deep into January.
Yeah, January 29th.
January 29th. The bag limit this year is 6 ducks. Is that correct?
Yeah, 6 birds.
6 birds, and 60-day season. And just in a nutshell, Jamie, why do we have split seasons like we had? Why do we do that? What's the purpose of 2 days, wait a week, and start again?
Well, you get sort of you get that one really great weekend. The opening weekend is, birds are a little bit relaxed. They're calm. They haven't been shot at. They've, been sitting around for a little while, and you have this opener, and everybody shoots, and all the birds get kind of wary about what's going on, and they like to scatter. And then if you give them a week off, they kind of start relaxing again, and then you open it up a week later, and it's sort of this. We call it the second, the opening day effect.
Okay.
You just have a couple of weekends where you should have some really good shooting.
Hunters generally like this, though. They like that their choice.
Yeah, I think for the most part, most hunters like to have that split and like to have the a group of days, a couple of days, or a group of days where they can shoot birds and then give the birds a little bit of a break, and then have that opening effect again, a week or a few weeks later. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's tell them a little bit about what's required to hunt ducks. Because there's somebody out there that's never hunted ducks in Tennessee, or maybe never hunted ducks at all. Might have a youngster out there watching. What can you hunt ducks with?
Okay. Well, all right. First of all, obviously you need your hunting license. You need your waterfowl permit. You need your migratory bird permit, and you need your federal duck stamp.
Yep.
Those are the basics to be legal to shoot.
If you go in a wildlife management area, make sure you got the right permits there,
Right.
and all that stuff is. Brant makes it all easy under our new licensing vendor program. Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah. They
don't
have that.
forget
They have that waterfowl package.
Right.
You just click that, and you'll have everything that you need to hunt waterfowl. That's a great. I love that feature.
Okay.
Hunting ducks, you need a shotgun. You can't use a rifle or anything like that. That's basic federal law. They said nope, you can't use any center fire. You can't use center fire firearms. So you got to use a shotgun, and it can't be any larger than a 10 gauge. So your grandpa, your great grandpa's 8 gauge, you can't use that. So,
No punt guns.
Right? Yeah, no punt guns. You can't fill up a cannon full of nuts and bolts or anything like that. You can't do that. That's against the law. So basic shotgun. It doesn't have to be a super high dollar shotgun. Just a basic pump or break action or something. That shotgun cannot be capable of holding more than 3 shells.
You can make sure you plug it.
Yeah, so it has to have a plug in it.
What's the shot size on? Is there a certain shot size for ducks?
Well, yeah, I mean that's going to depend on what you're hunting. So if you're hunting smaller ducks, like if you're going to go out and target just teal, which in Tennessee you're not going to be doing that. You're going to want to use a smaller pellet size, like a 6 or a 7.
Okay.
Sort of your bigger ducks, you want to move up to like 4s or 2s. And for those who don't know, it's just the smaller the number, the larger the diameter of the pellet that's in the shotgun shell. You get into geese, you want to use something pretty big like Bs or double Bs, things like that. So the larger the bird, you want a bigger shot size.
Yeah, and I haven't mentioned that, Jamie. This goose season is going on too, right?
Yeah, right. So we've got Canada geese. You can shoot Canada geese, and that overlaps with the duck season, so December 3rd to January 29th. But you can also hunt light geese, which are your blue geese, your snow geese, your Ross's geese, and those are December 3rd, but they run until February 11th.
Which would be a whole subject we'll talk about sometime. But it's a bird that really, when you think waterfowl season is over, not quite.
Right.
But I do want to ask you, are those birds, those blue geese, snow geese, are they coming into Tennessee?
Yeah, we're getting some over in western Tennessee. We're getting reports more and more every year that we're getting them, and enough that we certainly feel like we can participate in this spring conservation season, which we've talked about, and I'll be back and we'll talk about that again sometime. But
people travel too.
Yeah, right.
Do a little bit of hunting.
Right.
So, all right, good deal. Also, with the birds that we're taking, what are the birds in Tennessee that hunters mostly prize? Which ones?
It's going to be the mallard for sure.
Greenheads?
Greenhead mallards. It's really funny. I was talking to a colleague of mine the other day about this, and he was telling me about how when he was younger, he's from Tennessee. He was telling me about how when he was younger, he and a friend of his went out and shot a bunch of pintails. Well, his dad chastised him because at the time a pintail was considered a trash duck. Well, they're not so much a trash duck anymore. They're pretty prized, and folks look forward to shooting pintails. At least in my experience, that's been the case. So Thing with pintails, though, you limit of 2 on those. So we have to be careful.
Make sure you look at the guide. The
Yeah,
guide is full of this information.
Certainly,
It's a
check out
waterfowl
the guide. Yeah, because even though we have a 6-bird limit, a daily bag limit of 6
Good
birds,
point.
some of those species, we've got some restrictions on some species.
How many you can take in that bag. It's a mixed bag.
Yeah, like mallards, the limit is 4. So you can only take 4 mallards, and only 2 of which can be hens. You can take 3 wood ducks, 2 redheads, 2 pintails, 3 scaup. If you happen to see a black duck, which we do, we get black ducks over in western Tennessee, you can only shoot 1 of those. And that's one of the ones you kind of have to be careful of because they look a lot like a female mallard. So you kind of have to be careful.
I really, if you're new to this pursuit, go with somebody who knows what they're doing.
Yeah,
if
absolutely.
you can. There'll be somebody that take you to somewhere nice, and then they can explain stuff as you go. And also, you can't use lead shot, right?
Right, correct. That's a big one. Federal prohibitions on using lead. They're very strict on that. Our agency, we're very strict on that as well. You can only use we commonly called steel shot, but it's non-toxic shot because there's other types of materials that they use for this, but most commonly steel shot.
Okay, so you might be rabbit hunting last year. You might still have a box of your number 6 lead shot. And you might accidentally put it in your truck. You might accidentally put it in your shotgun. Don't do that. Make sure you check everything. That. Make sure you get some non-toxic shot and take it with you because that is one that could get you a citation. And you don't want to do that. There was a period of time where they did a lot of study. Maybe he's doing it, I guess, Jamie, on lead. And lead was doing some pretty good damage to ducks that were swimming and eating and all that stuff.
Yeah, right. All of the pellets that were landing in the marsh areas where the ducks were feeding. Of course, when they feed, they'll consume little pieces of grit and things like that. Helps them grind up the seeds and food and digest and stuff. And they would just eat the lead shot, and they would get sick. Essentially, lead poisoning is what they were contracting and dying of. And
so that's the reason. And you got to learn which one goes best. I've talked to so many duck hunters through the years that like this kind of non-toxic shot, and this size, and this one shoots. And they're always looking for the one that's faster and shoots the best. It's up to you to go out and experiment with that and see what you like. What about our wildlife management area, Jamie? If you don't have private land out there, we have a bunch of wildlife management areas where you can go. How are they looking this year?
Yeah,
that's a big question because you're here in Nashville and we got them from east to west Tennessee.
Yeah, sure. I was fortunate enough to chat with a bunch of the wildlife management area folks earlier this week, and right now things like I think I alluded to earlier. Over in western Tennessee, we've got some areas that are they're looking good. If the area's got water on it. They've got ducks. A couple of specific areas I know about. Most of the WMAs that are around Kentucky Lake, they all have water because I think they have the ability to pull water off there. They've got water. They've got ducks, and things are going good there. Gooch is an area that's pretty popular with the duck hunters, and there's a couple of different units on there.
West Tennessee?
Yeah.
Okay.
Unit A has water, a little bit of water and a few ducks, and it's doing pretty well. But Unit E, which is pretty popular with the duck hunters, they're not looking so good. That area's not looking so good with water, not looking so good with ducks. So we're really, really hoping for some more rain to help fill up some of these areas and make them better. Middle Tennessee, Region 2, we've got Cheatham, Old Hickory. Both those areas have water, and from what I've heard, both areas are doing pretty well with ducks. Woods Reservoir down at AEDC.
Mm-hmm.
They've talked with the biologist down there at West Winton, and he said there was some pretty consistent shooting going on this past weekend, so they're feeling pretty good. They got some ducks. They got some good water. Region 3, Region 4, both not much going on there. Areas are dry.
So we've had a lot of fires too, I guess.
Yeah, certainly over in that Region 4 western, real eastern Tennessee, just real dry. Not a whole lot of birds going on in much of the areas over there. So right now, it looks like your hot spots are going to be middle in western Tennessee.
Okay, just hanging there because the weather changes. It could change all in a few days. Without any problem at all. Jamie, you're new to the position, and I know when Joe Benedict, I got him on air when he first started. He was 2 or 3 years ago, and Joe now is in another position. But you replaced him, and my big question to him is, what? And it may be too early to ask you this, but what is your vision for the waterfowl program in the years ahead, at least in the next couple, 3, or is it too early for you to get into that?
No, I've got some things that I'm thinking about. Certainly, it's building a relationship with the different area managers, trying to work with those folks and figure out what their needs are. So, basically, I view myself as sort of somebody that should be providing technical assistance and helping out those folks on the ground that are trying to create this habitat and get ducks here. So my vision for myself is making sure that they realize that I'm here for them, that build a good working relationship with them, trying to do things, find money to help them, expand some of the things that they're doing on their areas, and just sort of get us working together really well. I don't think we need to do more in promoting duck hunting in Tennessee. I mean, I think we're doing a pretty good job. Tennessee's got a pretty good reputation for duck hunting, especially over in Western Tennessee. But I certainly want to be involved in sort of flyway and national level stuff, and sort of get Tennessee to be a real true leader in waterfowl management, out not just within the state, but throughout the flyway and throughout the country.
Okay, all right. And a little bit of question on food. We got a minute or two left in here. What we got left, Jason? A couple, 3 minutes?
Yeah, you got about 4 minutes.
Okay. On food, every year we have this. Our guys will get out there, work their tails off, plant corn everywhere, and here comes the flood.
Sure.
It happens almost every year, it seems like. It may not really. And then we have to go in and replace that corn with millet or milo or whatever grows fast enough. All the food good? I mean, is it all going to have is there one that's that much better than the other, or are they all good enough for the ducks?
Oh, they're all good enough for the ducks, certainly. Corn is, provides some pretty decent energy. And the thing about corn is it's cheap and easy to plant. You get those millets and milos and things like that. There are a lot of natural seeds that can happen. Even if we don't plant something, there's this whole suite of plants called moist soil plants that just if you just sort of turn up the ground a little bit, you can get things like smartweeds, and you can get wild millets to grow, and things like beggar ticks, and you can get some nut sedges and stuff. Those are all great foods for ducks. So yeah, just because we don't get corn to grow and we have to go to millet or milo or something like that, those are just as good, maybe even better than corn. It just, corn is cheap and easy to put in the ground.
It has a reputation for,
and it has that reputation for
somewhere out there. Yeah. And it always seems like the guys come around when that flood happens, and they always get something in there. And I want folks to know how hard they work out there.
Oh, they
on
do.
These WMAs to try to make sure that there's something planted out there, and it's hard work, and it's all about Mother Nature some years.
Absolutely. And having spoken with a lot of those guys who run those areas, they take a lot of pride in what they do, and they really do have the hunter's best interest at heart. Well, not just the hunter, but I mean, they're doing it for the ducks, but the hunters will benefit from it. So they really do. Like you said, they put their heart and soul into it, and they really take a lot of pride in the work that they do.
They do. And before we go, banding, do we do that anymore in Tennessee? Do we band ducks or geese at all in Tennessee?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We still, in the summertime, we start in June and we go through August, and we're banding Canada geese, and we're banding wood ducks. We're also banding doves, mourning doves. So those are the three biggies that we're still banding. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
If a hunter gets a band though off of a mallard or off of a pintail, that's probably been that's done somewhere else.
Well, yeah. If it's anything other than a Canada goose or a wood duck, it's been banded somewhere else. But just because you get a band on a wood duck doesn't necessarily mean it's from Tennessee. So,
okay. All right. And bands, in a nutshell, what do bands do for you? What do bands do for you as the biologist and the hunter?
Helps us get some just basic biological data, and helps us figure out some things with harvest. Males, females, who's getting harvested more, where they're getting harvested, things like that. It's one of those things that helps us set the hunting seasons.
And for the hunter, it's a trophy.
Yeah, absolutely. So make sure you report those bands.
Great job, Jamie. We'll get you back like ducks later.
Absolutely.
And like geese. I'm sorry. I keep
problem.
saying that. We'll get you back, Jamie Feddersen.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
All right. All right.
Thanks, Jamie, for being with us. Hey, you can watch this show on tnwildlife.org, tnwildcast.com. You can listen right there. You can download to iTunes, watch on YouTube, or out there everywhere. This show is out there and all the past shows.
Time.